Hey guys, we're here today with Chris of Team MLH. I just wanted to go ahead and do some more personal questions for you, knowing what I know about what you've done and how to help any viewers kind of understand more of how to play casually but not lose every game.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Um, so with that being said, the first question here is definitely for you. What was your favorite moment as a casual player?
Ooh, there's been a lot of really good times playing casually. Like,
Okay,
I mean, beating competitive decks with a casual deck is always
that's always
it's
like
always
the
like
number one.
it's always like an awesome feeling. So if you haven't done that before, try it. It's but no, the I think my favorite was definitely topping locals with UAs.
Okay.
Like, I mean, channel by now probably knows I'm like big UA player. So, topping with UAs, actually going to locals, beating decks like this was when Thunder Dragons had just come out. So it was just that pure
Okay.
Thunder Dragon deck with the
Brilliant Fusion and all
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Okay.
and then Altergeist were a thing. They were
Rest in peace, Ultimate Blade.
they were still being played. Yeah, it was Altergeist, Thunder Dragon, and then like one Sky Striker. And
I still had one Sky Striker left at our
yeah,
levels.
there was one Sky Striker left. This was like right before that ban list when everyone thought it was gonna get hit, so everybody got rid of Sky Strikers. Yeah,
okay.
And then there was like a Trickstar build. That was kind of in the.
Well, I think a big thing with Sky Striker at the time was Thunder Dragons had just come out, so they hear mistake on legs. Sky Striker is all of a sudden gone. Like we can't do anything anymore.
Oh yeah,
that was wrong.
Yeah, that was very wrong. Sky Strikers are still top tier. Like it's pretty sad.
Apparently Widowmakers still exist.
Yeah, for some freaking reason. But yeah, I don't know. Getting through all of those with UAs, I mean, it had to be luck. I mean, people were just getting bad hands, and it's one thing to play with someone and they get bad hands and I beat them, but to just keep doing it and actually get first
have
place,
this weird consistency with UAs.
Yeah, to get a consistency, to have midfielder every game and then to pick up a prize card, like for someone that barely gets to do that, like that was a great feeling to pick up a prize card. I don't remember what it was. I think it was one of the when the Blue Eyes cards came out. Maybe it was Bingo Machine.
Bingo Machine Go.
Yeah.
So you won that one.
Yeah, I won.
Oh, okay.
Since I got first place, I picked that up. And
not to confuse people, you didn't pick up like a Chaos Emperor Dragon prize card.
No.
Okay.
No, I got I won the bingo machine, and
okay.
Then right after that I sold it. I didn't need it, but they were at a good price at the time, so that felt really good. So definitely for UAs, and then of course I've gotten a top 4 twice now at locals with UAs after that, but actually winning it was like that was a huge deal. So definitely my favorite moment. I'll never forget that night. For real, like that was crazy.
So the next one here, just gonna go completely different direction. We went to YCS Atlanta together.
Yeah. Weren't on the same team.
No.
We will next time. We're gonna do it.
If you become more competitive, yes. We will I'll definitely consider you.
I have the BAs. Maybe they'll be good enough.
Once we find that spice to make BAs good, we'll talk.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
We'll keep looking.
Sounds good to me.
But in terms of YCS Atlanta, how was your experience as someone who took a casual deck?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I took UAs to YCS. Like no any type. Like I don't care. Like it felt good. Like to bring UAs. Definitely didn't go undefeated or anything like that. So that was good. But no, I mean it was actually really fun. I basically had to almost rebuild it. We had to kind of tear it apart and put it back together to where I could go against competitive players.
Right.
I played a lot of Luna Lights. That was like my main. For some reason, YCS Atlanta Luna Lights was like my main matchup. And
how was that matchup? Bad.
It was horrible. They could stop me a lot. I won against one Luna Light because it was game 3. I got a good. It was one of those. I got a good hand. Other player didn't. I had an OTK hand, and I just OTK'd. But then we got to game 3. He had a whole board. He was ready to go, and I regeki'd. So it was kind of like it was just luck, and that won me one time. But I, like I said, didn't go undefeated. But all around, it was a fun experience. It was new. It was still UAs, but it was, I was running, this is when I first started running cherries, right. And I had to put together a whole extra deck for what was big at the time, and like,
didn't put the Leo dancers in there.
Oh man, we should have. But yeah,
we learned
all together. It was a fun experience. I even had somebody like stop me like after I played them, was like, can you put your deck out and let me take a picture? Like they got a deck picture of my UA deck at a YCS, and that was like, that doesn't sound like a big thing, moment. But that was a big deal for me, for someone to be like, I want to take a picture of this because.
And that was your first event besides locals, and you're getting someone who wants to showcase your deck and who wants to basically net deck your UAs.
Exactly.
Like you're able to bring it to a YCS and get that deck profile from someone.
Right.
Just by playing against them, which is insane.
Yeah, I don't know how it happened, but it was awesome. It felt great. So I felt like a celebrity with UAs. I was like, man, I'll set them out. You can take a picture of it. So, but now I have it on the channel.
It's something that's overlooked with a lot of competitive players. Like if you look at the deck profiles, like a lot of them, they don't look like they're having fun with it. Like they're just like, oh yeah, it's just another profile that someone wants. To get that from like a casual standpoint, like you said, it's almost like being a celebrity.
Oh yeah, it feels amazing. Because like everybody, like someone sees a competitive deck, they're like, oh man, I need to. I've been thinking about building that deck because I play competitively. Can I see it? And then they're like, yeah, sure. Because they've probably done it a few times. Yeah. But like with UAs, like nobody ever asks to see.
Right.
Like nobody wants to build UAs. So when somebody does and they're like, oh dude, I love your deck profile. I'm like, yeah, you can see it all you want. Like I want to take over the world with this deck. Yes. So yeah, it was a really fun experience altogether. YCS Atlanta, and the teams thing was really cool. There was a few games I got carried, and I felt kind of bad, but at the same time, I was like, we're just here having fun, and it was fun. And
I think your team with James and someone else, Will, it was definitely more, your guys' first experience. It was definitely a last minute thing. So I think it was the day that we were leaving.
the day before we were leaving, we said we got our third person. Because me and James were just
No, it was the day of, because Will stopped by.
That's right.
I was like, hey, do you want to go to Atlanta?
Will just came with us that day. So me and James were just like, we'll pick someone up there. And it was the day of we were leaving. He came, our third guy came along. So that was... it was lucky. We had a guy we knew, we didn't have to come up with some random, and also we probably would have hurt someone else's feelings when they got paired with us, and they would be like, so this is what you're playing, and they have sound grids or something, so, but no, it was a lot of fun altogether.
Okay. So, speaking of playing UAs at YCS Atlanta, why did you decide to go to YCS Atlanta, one of the top tier events, with a casual strategy? Like, why didn't you try and pick up that competitive deck for that, tier, higher tier event?
Yeah. Let's say the first thing, money is a thing, and most high tier decks are expensive.
Sure.
I personally don't like Salmon grades because I know that's the next question is why not just pick up Salmon grades? Well,
right, that's what people are going to be.
I've seen so many people run them everywhere, and I just see the same thing all the time. Mm-hmm. And it's the same play every time. And I like to just every hand is different. Every hand I'm doing something different. Every hand I'm trying to I have to figure out something else to do. So, even though it's consistency issues, sometimes it's kind of fun to have consistency issues because then. Okay, well now I got to figure out how to get this guy out so I can do this. Oh, I can do this. And then I'm just doing tons of different stuff. It's not just, I got this monster out, I win. Of course, with every deck, there is your boss monster, there's your win condition. But at the same time, there is a big, difference with that. So I didn't want to spend. I didn't have the money to really drop on a big deck. But in the situation, let's say if I did have the money, I probably would still. I mean, I still would have run UAs, and I would have had fun with it because, I knew I wasn't going to go anywhere and win. I know my worth and like how good I am at the game, and I don't think like you gave me a Thunder Dragon deck, I wouldn't be able to go into the game and
so you're just familiarity with with it.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that's a big thing is I just you couldn't give me a deck and me just go off on it. Like I'm not like that. Like I know a lot of people are. And I just I'm not. You can pick up a deck and just start going off. I can't do that. I don't understand the rulings as much. I haven't I haven't taken the time to really sit down and do that because I've I got the a pretty casual deck. Like if you're gonna say casual, one of my deck is one of the ones that you're gonna pop in your head.
Associated with it.
Yeah, exactly. So it's definitely like a I've got that down in my head. I can play that, and I've played it a lot. So I just wanted to play something I was very familiar with, something I knew I was going to have fun with, and something I wasn't going to struggle with the whole time.
It's probably a better decision than what I did. Yeah. I don't want to take away from you, but I remember going to Atlanta. My big thing was I have one game to figure out what this deck does.
Right.
And luckily I was able to figure it out because I was playing against a casual strategy. But yeah, like a big thing for me going into the YCS was I have one game to figure out what this deck does if I want to do well.
Exactly.
And it was a very, very big risk that I took, and luckily I was able to have it pay off. But I understand that, your familiarity with the casual decks and everything.
Which is definitely the main thing. It's the familiarity. I mean, there's other reasons, of course. Like, I mentioned the money thing and everything, but
which that happens.
But the main reason is definitely because I knew that if I played, competitive players or just casual players, whatever I played, I knew that I was going to be able to do something and have fun. And I feel like the main reason we're all doing this is to have fun. Right. So it's just kind of in that sense, I knew I was going to have fun doing that. If you just handed me some expensive deck or said, here's the money, go buy an expensive deck you want to do, I couldn't do that because I wouldn't want to learn it like that.
Playing a competitive deck casually is a very risky thing.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, they think if I just invest all this money into this deck, I'm just going to start getting wins out of it. And sure, you might get a couple because, you are playing decks like Sky Striker.
Right.
And so you're going to come out with a couple wins, but you're not going to get near the results that you would think unless you actually knew the deck and you knew how to play as a competitive player.
And that was one of the that is a competitive deck I've actually, borrowed from somebody and played. At locals is Sky Striker, and
it's
definitely
just one that you need to learn.
Yeah, and they just handed it to me. They said, "Here's a couple plays that you can remember, and then just go off on it." And there was so many misplays. I didn't even get. I did worse with Sky Strikers than I did than I would have with US. Right. So that's when I was just like, okay, it's not for me. And I like to put my time into one thing. Perfect it. These new cards come out, and we're always getting new stuff to make things better. I mean, Pot of Extravagance obviously made UAs super. It was
awesome. That huge indirect support that
that made
UAs
them
needed.
super supported. So it's stuff like that I'm just I've put a lot of time into UAs. That's the one I know the most, and I've built other decks, and I have other decks, and I feel like I've gotten pretty good with BAs, and I feel like they're definitely a higher tier than UAs. So, they're gonna do better, but
I mean, Cherubini's coming out, so it's gonna hold
So I have I may be able to. I might already have a competitive deck, and now I know how to use it. So we might see me playing a high tier deck if this Cherubini thing works out and everything kind of falls into place and it becomes competitive again.
Because Foolish Burial for cost, that might not work.
It's gonna work, but just hopefully works well enough to where it just can do better than a lot of these decks. The whole thing right now is control decks. It's like it's becoming super.
We need that really good push for an OTK deck that can fight through everything.
Exactly.
So the next question is, going forward, do you see yourself staying casual at more events? I know you're not going to be able to make Knoxville.
Yeah.
Which it sucks and everything. But for the next event you can go to, would you see yourself still playing a casual strategy, or would you try and make that push into a more competitive environment?
I think I think, we go to another YCS whenever, when I get back and everything. I feel like I could see myself, if BAs are competitive,
Right.
I'll run BAs. Like, I think I'm good at, and I could learn the thing. I think, I actually have looked at other competitive decks. I have looked at Thunder Dragon. I love Dangers. I think Dangers are awesome. Maybe Danger Thunder Dragon or something. I know it's expensive, but that's why I'm leaving for so long. But the idea of running competitively has crossed my mind a few times. I wouldn't consider myself a competitive player even after, because I'm probably still going to take UAs to locals and things like that, just because I enjoy doing that more.
Right.
But I could see myself, if we go to even regionals, YCS, anything like that, I could see myself at these higher tier events running a competitive deck just to have more wins than, and I could still have fun with it, because I feel like at that point, I could feel like at that point I could put my time into the deck, learn it, and get good at it without, all the things of, YCS Atlanta was so fast, and, we just kind of went in and just went to have fun.
It was
just,
so last minute. And just like, it was almost like an instinct purchase for a weekend.
Right, exactly.
That was what it
but
was.
It was super fun. Like, I'll never take that back. That was definitely awesome. So, I see myself. Definitely, we're going to be going to another one. I wish I could go to Knoxville, but, things happen. But, we'll see how things go. I do definitely see myself getting into a competitive deck. Of course, we got to see these ban lists. We got to see what may change.
What
if I'm like, I want to do Danger Thunder Dragons, and then Colossus gets hit, then I'm going to be like, well,
why invest now?
Yeah, I'm not going to invest in the deck,
And this is a really risky moment because that ban list is so close.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's definitely crossed my mind. Playing competitively is.
Is this something you'd want to get into?
Yeah, I'm interested in it. Like I said, who doesn't like winning?
Right. We'll come back to that in a little bit. But another question right now is, you personally, how would you like to improve? Like, is there anything that you want to know about that can get you to that next level while remaining a more casual player? Like, how do you get more wins with UAs?
Right.
How do you get, more wins with something? How do you want to make that leap?
Yeah, I think my main thing is, learning the rulings, like the specific wording of everything, and just learning every little thing, and how the game is like supposed to be played and everything. Because there's so many times that I'll play something and they'll be like, "Oh, you can't do that," and I'm like, "Wow."
I thought, I thought I could. Rulings are definitely a big thing, and something I kind of want to give, a little bit of advice on. Just while I got you here, and for any listeners, learn the competitive decks. As terrible as they are to play, as boring as they are to a lot of people, like Sky Strikers to me is so boring.
Yeah.
But it's so good.
Yeah.
So
yes, it is.
So I'm going to keep playing it until they axe it.
If they ever axe it.
Yeah, but learn the decks, learn your deck. Just learn the game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, as I mentioned before with YCS Atlanta, how I had one game to learn what my deck does.
Yeah.
It's the same way facing my opponent, right? If I play against you and you have a deck that I've never played before, like round one, I played against Melodious.
Yeah.
Right? Even though I know that they're a more casual strategy, I had no idea what they did.
Right.
So I told myself I have one game to figure out what they do. Otherwise,
Right.
I'm going to lose this match.
Right.
Right? Because I can lose game one, but if I lose game one learning what you've done, I can beat you 2 and 3. Right?
Right. Exactly.
So that's a huge thing is, it's just research, it's experience.
Yeah.
And that's definitely a thing that like will help make that leap.
Yeah.
That's a big thing I wanted to mention.
Yeah. That's definitely one thing that I wanted to do is actually like research everything that I need to research on the game to become better at it, and I feel like the rules and everything, and you can know every ruling, then you know how to get around stuff, and
right.
All the wordings of, like you said, learning the meta decks, the competitive decks, and being able to get over those things because I know what they do and knowing the rulings and all that kind of stuff and what my cards do and what cards I could get that could help my deck and hurt theirs. It's definitely something I've wanted to do. That's how I feel like I could get better as a casual player because of course
rules better.
Yeah, I mean it's not like the reason I don't have a good UA deck is because they have a really expensive UA card that I can't afford. Right. That's not the reason why that I don't have a technically good deck. It's not a high tier deck. It's because they don't make cards for it that make it that high tier. So you have to kind of find loopholes.
It doesn't help that much.
Yeah, it doesn't give me another normal summon. So I mean, but that's like the biggest thing is finding those other cards that aren't specific to any deck that will help me and hurt the person I'm playing it. Especially these competitive decks that are out. So that's probably like the main. That's how I feel would be the
rulings
main
and
thing.
Other decks.
Yeah,
it's definitely a big thing to go if you want to go casually.
Yeah, and I mean even competitively, I feel like it's good to know what your card does and what the other cards do. It definitely
does do that leap from purchasing a meta deck to being a meta player.
Right.
Right, because I can hand you Sky Strikers right now and send you to a locals. That won't make you a meta player. You're just sitting there with a meta deck.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna do that good either. Like it's definitely learning the deck, it's learning the cards, and it's learning the game.
It's learning your opponents and everything. Yeah,
exactly.
Okay, so the last thing I want to ask is, do you have any advice for casual players in general?
Yeah, for sure. The biggest thing is don't let these like competitive decks and stuff scare you. Don't let a competitive deck keep you from going to your locals or keep you from I go to locals and this our locals is very
so
meta. There's very little casual decks that you get to see when you go there. So the biggest thing is you cannot be afraid of the competitive decks. I mean, I went to YCS with UAs, so it's the biggest thing that I've noticed with casual players, they don't want to come play because there's the competitive players, and they're like, I know I'm going to lose. I mean, that's not always what's going to happen.
We're not that scared.
Exactly.
We can be beaten.
Yeah, they're beatable, and there's casual decks that can beat a meta deck and completely there's certain decks that can decimate a meta deck, but the reason why it's casual is because it can't do anything to any other decks. It's just a bad matchup for that.
And a lot of it runs down, especially in this metagame, is consistency.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right. We have Circle and Debug for Salamangreats that basically searches your combo.
Yeah.
Engage, you open that, it searches your combo. Shizuku searches your combo. You just have to wait a turn.
Right.
Right. There's so much consistency in these meta decks, and that don't come into casual strategies. Take a look at UAs or Flower Guardians. They kind of the same issue. There's only one normal summon. Well, the problem is if you don't get that normal summon, you can't play.
Right.
Right? There's not, if you don't get to that one specific card, right, you're basically, you're not playing.
Exactly. So.
And that's the biggest issue that, ruins a deck from being a meta deck is that consistency.
Exactly, yeah. And there's casual decks that are pretty consistent.
Right.
But their
Dinos are one card combos.
But their effects are just not as powerful.
They're
easily stoppable and things like that. So, there's so many decks in the game. I feel like there's so many things that people could find that nobody's found yet. There's so many cards in the game. It's ridiculous. So, that's the best advice I can give to a casual player is that you can't be afraid of playing these competitive players or going to your locals because there's going to be competitive players there. It's the fun of going and playing. It's the fun of especially in this format, like we've talked about Salamangreats. They're not going to completely stop you from playing the game.
Right. They're not as scary as people think. You really just have to figure out what they do and where to stop them. Right. Hand traps being so accessible nowadays.
Oh my God!
There's almost no excuse for not having Ash at this point.
Yeah, hand traps are so cheap now that it's you. I mean, you want to run hand traps in almost every deck. Like there's maybe a small amount of decks that don't have the space. Flower Guardians is an exception, but
I'm pretty sure Flower Guardians are on that tier like below UAs at this point.
Oh yeah.
We just.
I mean, we've got extravagance now, so and we don't have an extra deck. I feel like that's like definitely helped it in a way, but I mean, like I've even found a way to put hand traps in UAs. So I mean, hand traps are a big thing, and they're so accessible right now, especially the best one, which is Ash. Like if you stop a search, that can stop a person's entire play.
Right.
So
like if I mean, Sky Striker's brick. Believe it or not, people tend to think Sky Strikers can't brick because they're so consistent.
Oh yeah,
they do.
They can brick. I mean, I think any deck has the possibility to brick. Like you can't just have a perfect hand every time.
And like if you Ash that one engage that stopped them from bricking, well, you basically win.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, if I'm playing UAs and I have
the combo,
if I have the combo, like everybody every deck has the combo. So if you have the combo and you can stop even the competitive decks with just an Ash, do it, and then you win. Like that's and it feels great. So it's you can't be afraid of playing decks and being like, well, my deck's not good enough. It is. Every deck's good enough, and you can build it to be good enough. Even if it's not right now, you can build it to be good enough.
You just have to. The famous term, you just have to get there.
Right. Exactly.
It's the biggest thing. Just get there.
Yeah, just get there. I think another big thing for casual players, I know for some of us it's not, as easy as it sounds. For a lot of people it can be, for a lot of people it's not, but invest in some good cards. Like there is certain cards that it's good staples and stuff. I mean, Extravagance is not a cheap card at all.
No,
and so,
I wouldn't really call that a staple yet though, because
there's not a lot of decks that can go in yet, right now, but with a deck like UA's that doesn't have an extra deck, I mean, I run cherries in it. If you haven't seen the deck build, it's on the channel, but it has cherries in it and then Extravagance, so you can build an extra deck that
you can just flop a whole 15 cards in there.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, even if you don't run cherries, because it's at 42 with cherries, you take cherries out, you got a 40 card deck, then just throw in a bunch of random extra deck monsters that don't matter. You literally just have Pot of Greed for UAs. Like that's all it is. So invest in
put 15 cards to the side.
Exactly. So just invest in the better cards if you have the money. Like if you're like, I like UAs and I don't know any way to get them better, but I don't want to put all my money into a deck that like I don't want to put all my money into Sky Striker because I want to have fun with it. I have fun with UA. So, invest in the cards that will make that deck better, because you can buy expensive cards for the deck.
I really strongly feel like at this point there's no reason anyone should not have Ash at this point.
Right.
I understand that money is a thing, but if money is huge to the point where like you can't afford Ash, then there's not a lot of decks you're going to be able to afford.
Right.
Because even UAs, they'll run you at least $10.
Right. You can build probably FAs.
Yeah.
You can probably build FAs, which I've done that, and I still have them, but you'll never see me play them because they suck.
Like, they say Yu-Gi-Oh! Some people say that Yu-Gi-Oh! Is like pay to win and stuff like that, and it's really, it is to a point.
Yeah.
Like, if I want to beat you, I'm going to have to invest in those extra cards.
Right.
Right? Well, not you when it comes to UAs, but when we start playing against like BA and stuff like that, I'm probably gonna have to invest in those Phantasmes and stuff like that. Like, which that's my choice, but that's also what separates me.
Right, exactly.
But like, I could beat your BAs if I Ash the right thing, which comes as a common, which is accessible, and that's just that's a huge thing.
And BAs are a good deck.
Yeah.
Like that's not a deck that like.
It's not
easily stoppable or anything, but if you can stop a lot. I mean, there's a lot of decks you can stop with one Ash.
Yeah.
And you do that, and
on the hand.
Yeah, and it hurts, and it'll make you feel better as a casual player to do that to competitive decks or just good decks in general. Mm-hmm. I mean, BA isn't considered competitive right now because Snow got hit and everything, so it's just kind of with Snow getting hit,
Orcus coming out, you know, everybody's saying right now that Orcus is the new BA.
Yeah.
And, you know, stuff like that. So yeah, we're really waiting on that cherubim.
That cherubim is going to be fantastic.
And Snow to go back to 1. Please, Konami.
But
I will build light sworns. Declaring it right now, I will build max rarity light sworns if Snow comes back to 1.
I'm just gonna put it in BAs and run that.
After I put my Snow in Shadol's, because Shadol fusion into Snow also feels really good.
That's just rude.
Or since Snow is gone, and we're kind of getting into more of a banless discussion.
Yeah,
this is just stuff I want to talk about.
I feel like at some point we got some things we need to bring out here.
Ban Orcus, and this is my casual side talking because I'm not a fan of them anymore. Because they're holding my grass back. So ban Orcus cards, every single one to 0. Give us back grass. Not gonna happen. I am well aware. Let it happen anyways.
Well, we can only hope.
That's my unrealistic ban list discussion, which we will have a ban list discussion coming out.
Definitely.
Hopefully before the ban list drops. We have no idea when it will. So hopefully we're gonna get that out soon.
Hopefully we can. I want to talk about. I kind of want to do 2 though. Like talk about what we think may happen, and then talk about what did happen.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely have a ban list reaction.
Yeah.
Like all the popular channels.
Oh yeah, we're trying to be a popular channel, so
really want to
share us and everything.
Really want to get into Farfa's ban list reactions. Farfa, please.
Oh man.
Other than that, yeah, make sure you guys like the video if you did. Comment what you guys want to see next if you guys have any questions, and subscribe for more. We're out.
Peace.